Mr. Lloyd, thank you for being here. Would you mind stating your full name for the record?
Absolutely. My name is Sidney Lloyd.
And Mr. Lloyd, what is your occupation?
I am the guy that's the owner and the operator of the great company Lone Star Auto Sales.
Lone Star. And what exactly do you do at Lone Star?
I'm the man that runs the business, run the show, negotiate car sales terms, follow up with customers on outstanding debts. I do it all.
All right. And so how exactly did you first become acquainted with the defendant in this case, Mr. Simpson?
I happen to be the one that sold him the car.
You did. And when he purchased this car from you, did he ever enter into a contract?
Just like any other customer that wants to do business with our services and get our cars, yes, he signed a contract.
So was this a standard contract?
Yes.
It was. All right. If you wouldn't mind, would you please now turn in your binder to what has been marked as Exhibit E?
Sure.
Thank you. Please let the record reflect that I am showing counsel the same.
Record will be reflected.
Now, Mr. Lloyd, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
Do you? What is it?
Oh, it's the contract.
And do you recognize the signatures on that contract?
Yes, it appears to be my signature, and it appears to be Homer Simpson's.
I see. And is this an accurate copy?
To the best of my knowledge.
Has it been altered in any way?
Not at all.
Do you keep this contract in your custody?
I do.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this point, I would now like to move to enter what has been marked as Exhibit E into evidence.
Evidence will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, in this contract, Mr. Lloyd, does it state how many months Mr. Simpson may miss a car payment before you or someone else at Lone Star will take action?
Sure. It said it can't be more than 3 months. Car can't be more than 3 months delinquent, or it will be repossessed.
And does it state whether or not you are allowed to keep a spare set of car keys?
Yes, in the contract itself, it says Lone Star was allowed to keep a spare set of car keys, and I told him that day that there was going to be a spare set of car keys that we're going to have in case something like this happens.
I see. Why would you need to keep a spare set of car keys if it was his car?
In case something like this would happen. And what I mean by that is that if someone does not pay for the car that they signed a contract to for greater than 3 months, we're going to repossess the car. That's why we need the spare keys, because we're going to do it in a peaceful manner, just as the law states us to do so.
Okay. So, at the time of the shooting, had Mr. Simpson missed any car payments?
Had he missed any payments? Yeah.
Well, how many? How many months was he late?
He was 4 months late on the car payments at the time of the shooting.
He was 4 months late. So after noticing that he was 4 months late, did you do anything to notify him of these delinquencies?
Yeah, practically did everything, actually. Anything
Like
a reasonable business could do. We called him a number of times. We sent him letters. We even went to his house. And we didn't go to his house once. We went to his house multiple times as well.
Okay. And were you able to keep track of these attempts in any way?
Oh, yeah. We got this business log standard company procedure. Also, we kept copies of the letters.
Okay. Well, would you mind now turning in your binder to what has been marked as Exhibit J?
Yes, of course.
Please let the record reflect that I am showing counsel what has been marked as Exhibit J.
Be reflected.
Now, Mr. Lloyd, can you tell me, well, first, do you recognize this document?
Yes, of course I do.
And what is it?
It is my business log.
And is this a business log that you regularly keep in the scope of your business?
It is, in fact.
Has it been altered in any way?
No.
Does the business log remain in your custody at Lone Star?
It does indeed.
Okay. Thank you. Now, does this log, does it mention each of the attempts that you spoke about earlier?
Yeah, it mentions everything. The business log itself is basically just a transaction to keep us organized, so things don't get too confusing of everything that occurs of any significance. So yeah, we tend to keep track of all of the transactions and all of the occasions that we seek to get the car back.
Okay. Now, you said that you called his home. Does that business log, does it mention each phone call?
Yes.
And Does it state whether or not Mr. Simpson would come and speak to you on the phone when you called?
Yes.
Well, did he?
No.
So he did not come and speak to you?
No, he did not speak to
Okay.
me. No.
All right, great. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the letters that you sent him. Would you mind turning in your binder to what has been marked as Exhibits F and G?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. And please let, Your Honor, please let the record reflect that I am showing counsel what has been marked as Exhibits F and G.
It will be reflected.
Now, do you recognize these documents?
Yeah, actually, I do.
And what are they?
Oh, they're just they're the first two letters that we set that indicate that the contract itself was it was late. That Mr. Simpson needed to contact us immediately.
Now, do you recognize the signatures on the bottom of those contracts?
I do. Yes, it's my signature, and it appears to be Miss Simpson's signature.
Are these accurate copies of the letters that you sent?
Of course they are. Yeah.
They haven't been. Have they been altered in any
Not
way?
to my knowledge. They look identical. Exact same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Your Honor, at this point, I would now like to move to enter what has been marked as Exhibits F and G into evidence.
Shall be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, please tell us briefly, what do these letters say?
As I stated earlier, the first two letters themselves say that Mr. Simpson was late on his car payments and that he should contact Lone Star Auto Sales.
Okay. Now, please turn in your binder to what has been marked as Exhibits H and I.
All right.
And please let the record reflect, Your Honor. I am showing counsel what has been marked as Exhibits H and I.
Record will be reflected.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Lloyd, do you recognize these?
Yes, I do, of course.
And what are they?
They are two additional letters about the late contract plus repossessing.
Okay. And are these accurate copies of the letters you sent?
They are.
Do you recognize the signatures on the bottom of these letters?
I do.
Whose signatures are they?
They are Miss Simpson's again and mine.
And they haven't been altered in any way?
None whatsoever.
And sorry, let me rephrase that. Have they been altered in any way?
No, they haven't been altered in any way.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I would now like to move to enter what has been marked as Exhibits H and I into evidence.
Shall be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, please tell us what these letters state.
The second set of letters basically said, once again, he was late on his car payments, and that if he didn't pay, we would actually repossess his car.
Okay. Did you ever receive a response to these letters?
No.
Okay. Now I'd like to talk about the visits to his home. Before August 10th, did he ever come to the door to speak to you when you came to his home?
Nope.
No. And then did you come back on August 10th?
I did.
And why did you come back on August 10th?
Went to Mr. Simpson's home to notify him one last time of our intent to repossess the car if he didn't pay us immediately.
And did you bring anyone with you when you did this?
Yeah.
Who? Who did you bring with you?
Reliable Dakota.
Dakota. Well, who exactly was Dakota?
He was one of my employees, my favorite employee, because he was the best repossession man you could possibly have.
And why did you bring him?
Well, he's a repo man. I wanted Mr. Simpson to understand we're serious here, and that if he didn't pay that day, Dakota would take the car.
Okay, so you brought Dakota with you, and then were you two actually able to speak to Mr. Simpson that day?
Yeah.
You did? Well, what did you tell him?
I told him to pay or he'll come back and take the car.
So, did he pay you?
No.
He didn't? Well, what was his response?
He threatened us with violence, told us to get off his property. If we came back again, someone's going to hurt.
Someone would get hurt, so, well, you must have known that he wasn't going to pay you or give you the car back, so why didn't you just repossess the car right there?
You see, under the state law, we knew that if we did that under these circumstances, that we might actually breach the peace, and more importantly for us, our safety was at jeopardy due to how violent it seemed that Mr. Simpson was after he threatened us.
So if you didn't repossess the car right there, then what did you do after he threatened you?
Did what any reasonable business owner would do, and that is get back in the car and leave.
You left. Well, so you left, but did you ever come back to his home?
We did.
And when was that?
We plan to come back August 13th.
August 13th. And when you... So did you come back on August 13th?
We did.
And Were you with anybody?
I was.
And why did you come back on August 13th?
Well, Mr. Simpson still hadn't paid the car payments.
I see. And sorry, but who exactly were you with?
Oh, yeah, of course, Dakota.
Dakota.
Yep.
And so, do you remember what time you arrived?
It's probably after midnight.
Sometime after midnight. And
yeah.
When you got there, do you remember where you parked?
Parked? Yeah, it was like across the street. Little bit of a distance, but not quite too far. I mean, definitely I could still see visibly Homer Simpson's house.
Now, whose job was it to actually go and take the car back?
Car possession man, Dakota Smith.
Dakota. Now, did you give Dakota anything in order for him to use to take that car back?
Yep, as stated earlier in the contract, we told him that we would give him the car keys, the extra set of car keys, so that he could repossess the car in a peaceful manner.
I see. So he had car keys. Were you aware of anything else that he had on him at the time?
I think he had a pen light.
A pen light. All right. Now, when Dakota got out of the car, can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, he entered Simpson's driveway, and then he opened the car door.
So he opened the door. Well, how were you actually able to see that the car door had opened?
Well, I mean, it was pretty dark, so there are street lights, and I could make out figures, I could make out shapes, and I could just generally, vaguely tell what happened, but I could definitely tell that somebody opened a car door.
Okay. So Dakota, he walked over to the car. He opened the door, which you saw because the lights went on.
Yeah.
And then what happened right after that?
Yeah, someone came outside and pointed a gun at Dakota.
So someone was pointing a gun, and were you able to see what Dakota did?
Yeah, he raised his hands.
He put his hands in the air?
Yep, just like that.
Okay. Now, after Dakota raised his hands, what did the person who had come out of the house do?
Shot him.
He shot Dakota. And were you able to hear how many times?
Two. He shot him 2 times.
2 times. Okay. Now, after he shot Dakota, what did the man do?
So he shot him from a distance. Hold on, let me jog my memory here really quick. So he shot him from a distance, and then then I saw him close that car door, and then he went back inside.
Okay. So let me actually just go back a little bit. You said that he shot him from a distance. Were you able to see how far he shot him from?
Yeah. That was kind of what triggered that memory, because I noticed that it was odd because he shot him from at least more than 3 feet.
Okay. And then you said he shut the door and went in the house. But how were you actually able to see that he had shut the car door?
Dome light went off.
The dome light went off, right? And then he went back into the home. And after he went back into the home, did he come back out?
Yeah.
He did. Well, when was this?
Look, at that particular time, it was really hard to make out exactly what happened, but it seemed as if he was picking up something, or he went right back inside, though.
So he walked over to Dakota's body, and it looked like he picked something up. And when exactly did this happen?
I mean, this happened, right after, but honestly, something else was on my mind at that point in time.
So, during and after the shooting, what were you actually doing?
Well, what was on my mind at that time was I need to call the police, and I was honking the horn constantly.
Okay. So, tell me if I got this right. So, the man walked out, went to Dakota's body, went back into the home, and during this time, you had been honking the horn, and you called the police. Did the man ever come back out of the home before the police arrived?
No.
No. Well, did the police end up arriving?
Yeah. I gave my statement to Officer Ludek, who basically told me Dakota was dead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I only have a few more questions. So did you ever get the car back?
Did I ever get the car back? No, I never got the... did I? Yeah, actually, I did get the car back now I think about it. Yeah, Miss Simpson She came over the day after the shooting, and she dropped it off. Yeah.
Did you ever get any of the other money that he owed you back?
Yeah, it was the money that I never got back. Yeah, never got the money back.
Did you or anyone at Lone Star ever take any legal action against him to recover the rest of this money?
No, not at all. None whatsoever.
No? All right. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. I appreciate your time here. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
To whom it may concern, in the stipulations before the trial, I would have made clear that the judge had his own binder that he could flip through at his own discretion, so that I didn't have to go and show him each document. That's how I did it in the competition, and it worked fine. So that's the reason I didn't ask the judge if he wanted to see a copy.